Vikao kupokea maoni kutoka kwa Wakenya kuhusu mswada wa fedha wa mwaka 2025. Baraza la mawaziri liliidhinisha bajeti ya mwaka 2025 ambayo ni ya shilingi trilioni 4.2. Wakenya wameombwa kujitokeza ili kutoa maoni yao kuhusu bajeti kabla ya mswada wa bajeti ya mwaka 2025 kuwasilishwa bungeni. Hebu sasa tusikilize yale ambayo yanajiri katika kikao hicho.
As a country, we'll be facing a reduced importation of motor vehicles, and of course improving the balance of trade, for the country. Of course, in addition to other benefits like job creation, and also the fact that new vehicles are likely to be eco-friendly, they are likely to emit less carbon than the new vehicles. So based on that, we are pleading that you support that this be retained. Item number 6, again, this is a proposal that has come that is affecting the reporting by companies in Kenya, internationally. And for this, it's basically more of a cleanup. I think here what we are saying is the way this law has been drafted is going to cause a lot of confusion. Honorable Chair, there are two things about country-by-country reporting and also notification to the Commissioner. Upon the expiry of a financial year, a company is required to notify the Commissioner that it meets the conditionalities under this law and will be filing a country-by-country report in the next 12 months. So we have notification coming immediately at the end of the year, and then after 12 months, there is a filing. Now, what has happened here is like you'll be fighting after the. We have a provision, section 18(2)(d). You can see that at page 7, which provides for the country-by-country 12 months from the financial year. That is basically a clean to ensure that these two are present. To Fred Kemodo for the next presentation.
So, Chair, on page number 7, we look at two proposals that we are proposing that are currently not in the finance bill, as currently drafted. And maybe, Chair, just to step back a bit, I think we spent quite a bit of time, even in this committee, discussing the national tax policy, I think sometimes in April of 2023, which was a very good move because there are very few countries that have made their national tax policy public, which we commend the committee for that commitment. And maybe to add a bit on that, what we call the medium-term revenue strategy that was published by the government to guide the tax changes that we will see between now and the end of the financial year of 2027, that is in June 2027. So basically, it was guiding the framework of taxation for the 3 years. So if you look at them, it has a very clear implementation matrix, which is actually very elaborate on each and every tax head. There are things that have been mentioned there very, very specifically, and among them is also the reduction of VAT, which according to that matrix, actually the VAT rate would have been reduced last year by 1%. But on income tax specifically, the medium-term revenue strategy talks about reducing the corporate income tax rate from the current 30% to 28%. And based on that, implementation matrix is actually supposed to have been done under this finance bill. So the request, Chair, is to probably also comprehensively look at pronounce in that particular place to ensure we also include some of those submissions. And on this one specifically, it is our request that you could consider reducing the corporate income tax rate from the current 30% and that you may be the Africa average for corporate income tax is around 29%. The global average is 23%. Putting would be one of the good moves that this committee could actually take. Chair, on the next issue is on bad debts. So what happens basically is that Section 15 of the Income Tax Act provides business and you incur bad debt, you can be allowed to take a deduction. but it is not a blanket deduction. There are some guidelines that have been published by the Commissioner, more specifically Legal Notice number 37, which then spells the conditions that you must meet for you to take a deduction of that particular debt. So without going into a lot of detail on it, one of the paragraphs in that Legal Notice number 37 provides that you cannot take a deduction of capital, of a bad debt that is capital in nature. Now, Chair, what that has done is that there are some quotas who do interpret that to mean that even for the financial sector, when you lend, obviously the bad debt will be composed of the principal element of the loan, and it will also have the interest that has accrued on that particular loan. There's a quota that does believe that the principal element of the loan should be considered to be capital in nature, and therefore, according to them, we shouldn't take a deduction of the principal element of the loan, which obviously then is going to be a big blow to the financial sector, because you can imagine if you lend 1 million today and there is interest of, say, 100,000, so someone saying that you cannot take a deduction of the 1 million just because that provision is interpreted to mean that that principal element is capital in nature, then that would spell a lot of crisis for the financial sector. So our proposal, Chair, is then to amend Section 15 of the Income Tax Act to basically provide a proviso where we say that persons involved in the lending business, both the principal and the interest.
Maji ndo shughuli nzima ya vikao vya kuendelea kuwasilisha maoni kuhusu bajeti ya mwaka 2025-2026, vikao ambavyo vinaendelea na Wakenya wamehimizwa kuweza kutoa maoni yao. Hivyo basi, hapo unatufuatilia, ni vizuri pia kutoa maoni yako katika masuala haya ambayo yanakuhusu kwa njia moja au nyingine. Kwa taarifa zaidi tutakuwa tunakujuza katika taarifa zetu zijazo. Tukiangazia mengine